You know that moment when you're trying to leave and everything is in your hands at once? One thing sliding, one thing too heavy, one thing you're trying not to drop. Robert Smalls had that feeling in Charleston Harbor, except the thing he couldn't drop was a Confederate warship, his family, and the only chance they had to get out alive. He was enslaved, but he was also the person who knew that harbor better than almost anyone. As a teenager, he'd been pushed into maritime work, starting on the docks and moving through rigging, sailmaking, and wheelman duties. So he learned tides, channels, signals, and the tiny details that matter when water gets narrow and men with guns get nervous. Then the Confederacy did the fatal mistake of putting the smartest guy in the room right on the ship they needed to run. I mean, great staffing decision if your goal is accidental sabotage. By 1862, when he was 23, he was serving as pilot on the Planter. On the night of May 12th into May 13th, the white officers went ashore to sleep, and Smalls waited. Then he and the other enslaved crew moved the Planter out of the dock, quietly, like they'd done it 100 times. Only this time they weren't running Confederate errands. They were going to pick up their families. A prearranged stop in the harbor brought wives, children, and other freedom seekers aboard. Different accounts put the total at 16 or 17 people. And then Smalls had to thread the ship past at least 5 forts using the right whistle patterns and hand signals, with a straw hat on that helped him look from a distance like the man he was pretending to be. This is the part that still gets me. Once the ship cleared the last Confederate battery, Smalls lowered the Confederate flag and raised a white one. The Union blockade saw an armed Confederate steamer coming straight toward it, and for a moment they had every reason to think it was a trap. Then they realized what they were looking at. The Planter became a prize of war, and with it came artillery, a codebook, and maps of harbor mines. So the Union didn't just get a ship, it got intelligence, and it got humiliation for the Confederacy that was hard to miss. And Smalls didn't disappear after that. He served the Union as a pilot and later commanded the USS Planter, becoming one of the first black men to command a U.S. military vessel. His escape wasn't only a freedom story, it became proof, out loud and in public, that black men could do the work, handle the danger, and lead. That mattered in the war because it gave abolitionists and recruiters something concrete to point to when they argued for black enlistment. Not theory, a man, a ship, a result. After the war, he carried that same force into Reconstruction politics, serving in South Carolina's legislature and then in Congress, pushing for public education and civil rights, while white supremacist violence tried to shove black leaders back out of the room. He even bought the house in Beaufort, where he had once been enslaved. That detail is almost too plain to be real. The place that once held him became part of his life as a free man. And that's why I keep coming back to Robert Smalls. On that dock in Charleston, with everything in his hands and the harbor in front of him, he did not let the future slip away. He kept hold of it, and his family got out.